This meeting is being recorded.
If we got everybody on.
Okay, I think we've got everyone on. Yeah.
Okay, so over to you, Imbe. You want to kick off? It's fine.
Colleagues, good afternoon.
Here we're just seeing your presentation mode. If you go to display settings and then swap. Just at the top, just go to display settings.
Yeah. What do you want to see? You are seeing the slide.
Yeah, then just say swap presenter view and slideshow.
Yeah.
Just press that. Right, now we can see. Right, now we can see your slides. Normal view.
Okay, colleagues, good afternoon. Good afternoon, founders who are also on the line, as well as executives from IBM. Welcoming you formally to this IBM Enterprise and Supplier Development and Digital Skills Program launch, which we call Techscale. This is the 4th cohort, and very excited to be here. I got a chance to see some of the businesses while you were in the process of the interviews. I think you all remember how very grueling those interviews were. I think it's just a testament to the fact that IBM is definitely a serious game player in the ICT space, in Southern Africa, really globally. And that's why, the barriers to entry are quite so high. I think it's because the organization can provide so much value, and the kind of time that they can give to small and medium businesses is important. And I definitely do see the organization becoming a catalyst for some really great businesses. So today really is a launch where we are going to be talking about the program, giving you some context. We'll be hearing from IBM executives. We'll also be hearing from alumni, just so that you can get a sense of what to expect in this program. And later I'll come back just to discuss next steps on how we'll be moving forward with you. So I think I'd just like to ask everyone to please stay muted. Please check if you are on mute. And other than that, I think I'll be handing over to Yaya Nana. Yaya?
Thank you, Ambe, and thank you for all those that have joined. So welcome to the IBM Techscale program 2022. We are very excited to have you on board as the beneficiaries that have been selected for this program. And I'm going to ask Zina Dasu to just do an introduction around the program and also give you some insight around the IBM strategy. So I'm going to hand over to Zina to introduce the team, and then she will then go through some slides on her side. Okay, so over to you, Zina.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the session, and welcome to the IBM Techscale Cohort 4 program for 2022, and congratulations on qualifying for the program. So maybe just a brief introduction to the team. I practically lead this team, and it's unfortunate that we had to have this via WebEx. We would have loved to have hosted you at IBM's premises, and we'll find an opportunity to do so at a later stage where you can actually meet my team face to face. But just a quick kind of a squiz through the team. Part of my team basically lead each stream of IBM's BBEE commitment. in terms of the triple BEE scorecard. The two people that you will primarily be engaging with, actually 4 people, but the 2 leads of the 2 streams, which is enterprise supplier development and enterprise development under our EEIP commitment, is Yahya Nana and Stephanie Lang. Both of them are on the call. Also, Tsepo May and Wazir Davids. These 4 people are primarily going to be assisting with the development of each of our beneficiaries. They are very well appointed. They come from our technology team and our IBM consulting brand organizations. They've got experience, in IBM, and especially Yahya, Stephanie, and Tsepo are longtime IBMers. And Wazir is kind of the junior team member, but also very well appointed, a lot of technology experience as well. I also have on the call Liza Palama, who assists with just the general operations matters of the team as a whole. I have Paul Tefu, who is our financial controller of the program. Mark Merkel, who takes care of also operations and is our business controls lead. I have Shana Erasmus, who takes care of the socioeconomic development stream of the triple BE scorecard, and Ashri Naidu, who oversees the management control and the skills development streams of the scorecard. Angeline Rasaroka, who assists and supports the team from an SED perspective, also skills development perspective, and also helps us out on the research lab matters of our EIP program. And I also have Sibongile Mkwanazi, who is assists with our academic program initiative under our EIP program. And last but not least, I have Sibusisiwe Makanya, who is our South African research lab leader. And collectively, all of these individuals make up the team who practically deliver on IBM's obligations under our EIP commitment. I'll talk about that in a little while, as well as on each of the elements of our scorecard under triple BEE. Yahya, you may go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm going to share with you and just give you a little bit of an overview on, sorry, let me just see the sharing. Can't find my, a second, apologies for the delay. It was here just a minute ago. Show Windows. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. And
you're not just going to presenter mode, we're still seeing. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, sorry, hang on one second. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through just an overview of the IBM strategy and the enterprise development program. So you get a little bit of context of where you kind of fit into this entire, the entire program, right? So as you all know, sorry, I'm just skipping through. Okay. Something's okay. So just an overview of the program to let you know is that IBM has approached its triple BE scorecard in a very different way to a lot of South African corporates, in the sense that in terms of its ownership element, we have opted to rather adopt an equity equivalence program. Okay. In January 2015, we announced that we will be investing 700 million rand into South African research and ICT skills and enterprise development over a 10-year period through this program. It essentially provides emerging enterprises with access to resources like IBM Technology, technical support, business mentorship. The program improves access to IBM's innovative technologies such as cloud and AI technologies, and increases the adoption of a range of digital solutions as it incubates and supports startups to ensure that entrepreneurs become globally competitive. So I'll talk about why this is crucial and the type of stuff that we do invest in, but I want to also emphasize that apart from the enterprise development aspect, IBM has also invested in a research lab that is situated in Braamfontein. And during the course of your involvement in our program, we welcome you to actually make arrangements to visit our lab so you can appreciate the type of investment we've made in terms of deep skill development in the research space on very cutting edge type of programs that you would normally find, primarily in developing countries, that type of research being conducted. And this was our commitment to the DTI. We put up a bricks and mortar establishment. We literally started with 3 research scientists in 2015, 2 of whom, because of the lack of that type of skill, 2 of whom were from our other global labs, and 1 person recruited in South Africa to kick off the lab. To date, we have grown significantly, where we have, plus 20, 25 researchers currently at the South African lab. And hopefully, this lab will continue growing and will continue developing deep research skills. And I must say approximately 80% of the researchers, closer to 90% on last count, are actually South African deep skill researchers. So where you fit into this entire paradigm is that you sit within the enterprise development commitment under the equity ownership element of the scorecard, as well as the enterprise and supplier development components of the other elements of the scorecard. So there is a significant investment into enterprise development by IBM in terms of the scorecard. So IBM has played a significant role in South Africa's development since it established presence in the country in 1952 by collaborating with South African businesses, with government and other institutions to deliver value and facilitate such businesses' digital transformation and practically the shift to cloud, AI, and quantum. Right? IBM has also made several significant, as I've said, investments, including our offices at 90 Grayston, our research lab, and a considerable amount of investment in skills development of IBMers, as well as skills in the marketplace in terms of development of our business partners, etc. So IBM, in terms of our contribution to the scorecard, and you'll see I keep on talking to the scorecard, scorecard is almost pivotal to the roadmap of IBM going forward, right? We achieved a level 1B rating approximately 4 years ago, ahead of a lot of our competitors, right? And by doing so, we demonstrated our commitment to socioeconomic advancement and development, to our commitment to accelerating South Africa's digital capability in the global market through academic, enterprise development, and research and development initiatives. We work with a wide range of clients in South Africa across many sectors and industries, including financial services, telecommunications, retail, healthcare, and public sectors. So we support the economic and social development locally through programs that apply IBM expertise and technology resources. And we supported South Africa with in addition, and this talks to our social economic development area, we've supported over 50 projects in most of the provinces in South Africa. So we're seeing companies across South Africa rebuilding their entire business models around the possibilities of digital technologies like hybrid cloud and AI. I mean, most of you are in the, well, all of you, I would imagine, are in the IT space, and you will recall, decades ago, not too long ago, actually, maybe less than a decade or so ago, there was a lot of emphasis on product, right? Product, whether it was software, whether it was hardware, and IBM and a lot of OEMs, in light of the massive digital transformation and the huge leaps being made in technology, from chip innovation, etc., had to keep up. And I think the entire had to make a shift to cloud computing, big data, e-commerce, etc. And so, weaning off a very product-based type of business, taking the journey towards cloud and cloud computing. And IBM being a huge enterprise, employing close to 350,000 employees globally, and being over 100-year-old company with a lot of processes, a lot of strategy, a lot of innovation and research as well, playing a role in it, had to literally turn a ship over the last decade or two towards this, a digital transformation strategy to remain relevant as an IT company and to continue contributing to innovation and basically digital transformation globally. Right? The pace of the technology adoption is it remains unabated. It is just gaining momentum out there, and and it may accelerate in some areas. So cloud computing, big data, e-commerce remain high priorities, and there's a significant rise in the interest for encryption, non-humanoid robots, artificial intelligence, and more organizations will rely on technology for security, faster processes, and most importantly, to begin or accelerate their respective digital transformation journeys. So some of you are actually on that journey. Some of you have already adopted and now are contributing to those the digital transformation journeys of your clients and your stakeholders. So across industries, we will see organizations pivot to new ways of doing business, from retailers relying on e-commerce to manufacturers who have had to introduce remote working, to banks who are now depending on digital, and many others who were forced to further innovate and find creative solutions. So what does this mean, right? I mean, and it's relevant for all of you. It's not only IBM's kind of obligation, and it's not only a South Africa obligation, but I think as leaders of your own businesses, we all have to drive the South Africa's push to grab the 4IR opportunities, and to also, as South Africa, become the global hotbed of innovation, right? We are sitting on a continent that is has probably one of the youngest workforces globally, who are also kind of, who has many challenges. I mean, we know in South Africa the challenges we have, from energy stability to affordable access to affordable broadband and data. These are massive challenges to a country that has to accelerate its digital journey as well, right? To create an environment where its entrepreneurs can thrive and become globally competitive. So we sit on a continent and we are running a race with other countries on this continent. Right? We know of Kenya being very advanced in terms of already established a very wide-reaching gig economy, with youngsters doing their own startups and actually servicing global companies from literally garages or their own rooms, etc. And so this is where we find ourselves playing, right? So as much as we have challenges, I think there's a lot of opportunity in those challenges for innovation, and that is where IBM and similar companies like IBM, who have to invest in enterprise development, are also kind of focusing our attention on to assist you in trying to grow, trying to leap forward, and then contributing to South Africa's push to adopt as many 4IR opportunities, and like I said, to become the global hotbed of innovation and to be competitive on the continent, right? So collaborative efforts in private-public partnerships will become increasingly important to help a hyper-connected and entrepreneurial youth population. This will require tackling access to cutting-edge digital tools. Mobile adoption is accelerating, and now South Africa, like I said, must address the connectivity gaps, right? Because that's where we are lagging big time, and we will need government to help sort that out as well. Mining of valuable data. I mean, it's huge, the amount of data available at the moment, and the ability to mine valuable data out of it. That's going to be, that's happening already, and it's going to accelerate. I mean, you are seeing a lot of companies evolve where they are utilizing data for strategic decision making at every level. So there's great opportunity for South Africa to turn data into actionable insights that can be accessed and shared easily. To do this, cross-continental policies and standards for the generation, regulation, use, and management of the data is being developed at the moment. And it's not an inconsiderable task, but there's opportunity there as well for entrepreneurs to cotton on. Building the new skills needed against the clock, right? South Africa must fast-track moves to skill and reskill the future and existing workforce, making sure adjustments are addressed early within the education ecosystem. We've just seen Angie Macheka, she's introduced better late than never. My view is she's introduced coding and robotics at primary school level already, right? So that's a good positive step. Should have been done years ago, but nevertheless, at least it's being done now, right? And we find on an ongoing basis, right, we need to define this on an ongoing basis through further education and lifelong learning. I think my colleague Stephanie will talk more on skills development in that regard, but the explosion of online learning, the availability of thousands and thousands of courses out there should not be an excuse to practically sit on our hands, right? We need to get that education out there to our youngsters, to our entrepreneurs, and give them the opportunity to reskill. I think also the pace at which reskilling and refocusing of skilling is happening is also quite fast. I think not a decade ago, people were skilling in more product-orientated skill sets, how to fix your hard drives, etc. However, cloud and hybrid cloud and the journey to cloud, that's changed. Now we need new types of skill sets in the workforce. And so we just have to keep up with the pace of making sure that we have sufficient skill in the country that meets these challenges as the whole digital transformation unfolds. An innovative ecosystem, right? Efforts across countries and regions must be turned into a cohesive approach. And I think South Africa, to a certain extent, is doing this. Institutions like the African Union, Africa 50, along with the Africa Growth Platform and the C4IR programs have sown the seeds for Pan-African collaboration and investment. But more public-private partnerships are essential if the continent can create an integrated innovation ecosystem to meet the challenges of 4IR. It stands to supercharge its economies, its societies, and it can literally catapult in a positive way the livelihoods of millions across the continent. Okay, so in this regard, also, our research lab in Braamfontein is part of an Africa initiative, and we have another lab in Kenya. And in the IBM ecosystem of labs, these two labs are 2 of 12 labs, and the only 2 on one continent. So that says a lot about IBM's recognition of Africa being an important continent to play in the drive towards digital transformation. Now, we've just come out of a horrid 2 years. Hopefully 2022 is going to be much better. We probably will have some stop-starts as COVID takes hold. I believe we are all anticipating a further wave, hopefully of very minor infections now that the disease has become, has moved from epidemic to, I think the word is endemic. And so we will just have to learn to live with it. But, it really, really affected everything. But I think what it also did was force the move to digital transformations, right? More organizations, all sizes, including you, including us, are now relying on technology for faster processes, security, better security. This is just accelerating the digital transformation journeys of organizations. And there lies the opportunity for companies like you out there, right? Digital transformation is, again, not just a nice to have anymore. It has become an essential, a priority for businesses who want to emerge stronger from disruptions like COVID-19. This crisis has just shown the importance of hybrid cloud and AI has not changed, right? What has changed is the pace at which they are being adopted. Transformation journeys that were going to take a few years pre-2020 are now being compacted into weeks or months. Businesses are questioning and transforming their operating models. Such shifts have both immediate and long-term consequences. Businesses are thinking about how to use technology to reassess and reimagine modes of consumption, supply, interaction, and productivity. And here again lies the opportunity for you. They're looking for long-lasting answers on what they can do with technology to address the key issues that COVID-19 or the next epidemic or the next big disruption, the key issues that they have brought to light or will bring into light. So organizations which embrace the new digital era, in short, will thrive. These are companies that fully employ distributed work, virtual engagement environments, enhanced data and analytics, AI and machine learning, to not only continue to meet immediate needs, but also to innovate for the future. So it's a continuous journey and which requires agility to move. Okay. Continuity is key, as supply chains must continue operating and customers must be engaged virtually, and support for government and essential services must be supported. Organizations which embrace this new normal will come out stronger. We also believe that IBM has a critical role to play to support many companies in South Africa that have been forced to make extraordinary shifts in the way they conduct daily business. We are and we continue to marshal our resources to bring together the right community of experts, clients, governments, scientists, developers, partners, academic institutions, health agencies, our staff, our ecosystem, to work together and manage disruption in that affects societies. And we apply data, knowledge, computing power, and insights to solve difficult problems. And there again, our lab helps in this regard. So to help ease businesses' burden during difficult times, IBM also provides free offerings that span cloud-enabled AI data security, integration, video, and more via the IBM public cloud. Through IBM research, we are developing new cloud and AI-powered technologies that can help researchers across a variety of scientific disciplines accelerate the process of discovery as the pandemic unfolds. So that, in short, is where we are as IBM, and the interplay and the focus on enterprise development. I mean, I put out the advert here just to show you that essentially the advert was designed in a way to embrace and take into account the IBM strategy in terms of where we see this going and the types of companies that we want to align and we want to help develop, because we think companies who adopt this type of strategy will thrive and will develop and will be successful. Just a bit on the program. In enterprise development, our program provides a selected small ICT businesses and entrepreneurs with development, growth investments, and access to IBM products and technology, which includes a whole range of support mechanisms. from incubation, financing, coaching, mentoring, access to markets. Through the program, IBM has supported innovative startups in a range of industries in South Africa, from agriculture, education, mobile payments, digital solutions, etc. So since the inception of the program, IBM has provided entrepreneurs and small businesses with development support, growth and investment, and access to IBM products and technology aligned to their life stage of the selected business. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all approach. Our program, which is very good for you, we actually tailor-make our investments depending on your journey, basically, you know, we hope that we can drive your development to make sense within the South African economy through this approach, this tailor-made approach. The program selected enterprises to be supported for their growth through technologies such as data, analytics, cloud, security, which will enable you to enter new markets or regions, hopefully. This specific program, IBM Techscale, is targeted at established Black-owned tech companies in various sectors, including financial services, healthcare, telecommunication sectors, etc. The program was officially launched in May 2019, and this we are seeing as Mbe mentioned, this is our 4th cohort. And we will continue focusing on software as a service, artificial intelligence, hybrid clouds, advanced data, and advanced security models in your journey. Over the course of the program, participants will get the opportunity to collaborate with decision makers from the tech industry, will gain access to mentors and coaches. Some of the topics covered include business development and enablement, as well as investor readiness, design thinking, and media readiness. Now, I'm not going to go more into this. I think Yahya and Stephanie later in the presentation will take you through the nuts and bolts, and you'll probably have some questions for them. But that's just to give you kind of an overall taste of this program. Last but not least, I just want to emphasize, because, you know, hand in hand with enterprise development, and as I said before, is this entire push to reskilling and upskilling, you know, anybody in this economy, because without the appropriate skill, we obviously will not be able to embark on major digital transformation journeys in this country. Okay, IBM has, to this end, designed programs. We gave a commitment to provide 30 million people of all ages with new skills for the jobs of tomorrow by 2030. So I just want to kind of emphasize 2 types of programs in this regard, and that is the Digital Nation Africa. This program was designed especially for Africa, an investment aimed at accelerating Africa's digital literacy and resulting in new employment opportunities for youth. The platform gives entrepreneurs and students and developers free access to tools and solutions to enhance their digital knowledge and develop their skills that will match available jobs in the market. So, and this the second initiative I'd like to touch on, and these are not the only initiatives in IBM. So if you have any kind of questions, if you want to actually take these initiatives forward into your ecosystem, by all means, contact Yahya and Stephanie, and they'll give you much more information on how to access these. But the IBM Skills Academy, I'd like to also emphasize, is part of IBM's university programs, where we collaborate with universities, faculty, students, etc., to provide technology supporting research and create assets. And that's also linked to our lab initiatives. So like I said, if you need any information about any of these skills development initiatives beyond what you will be experiencing from the Techscale program, please make contact with Yahya and Stephanie, and they'll be happy to share this with you. And so I'll kind of draw this to the end and hand over to Yahya, who will take you through the details of the program. Yahya, I'm stopping my sharing and handing over to you now. Thanks. Sorry, just sorry, before I hand over to you, Yahya, just one more thing I'd like to emphasize. Sorry, and I've kind of just prematurely stopped my presentation, but maybe I can just emphasize a few things, what we would like to achieve through the investment in your business. I think to my mind, when I thought about it, when I was trying to my talking points for the presentation is, I mean, first and foremost, through our investment, we'd like to see you develop into a sustainable business model and grow, right? That's important, right? That we'd like to see you grow and to establish yourself, establish a sustainable business model. The other important aspect that we'd like to see is a contribution to skills development. So apart from what we are doing as OEMs, I mean, entrepreneurship unlocks employment and unlocks skills development. And we would love to see, you know, our investment in you kind of have a snowball effect in your ability to then further on skills develop. And the third thing that I would like to emphasize is, you know, we would love to see you, the potential of you becoming a likely business partner and or a supplier to IBM. And that's a journey that you will undertake. Hopefully that this investment will catapult that journey for you. Now, underpinning all of these, I must emphasize that, you know, we expect to deal with you on the basis of you know, in an ethical manner. We're going to expect, I mean, this program was quite detailed, and a lot of due diligence went into choosing you as a company, and a lot of emphasis is on your ethical posture. And we would like to see you not only maintain your ethical posture throughout this program, so simple things like, you know, show up to meetings, call us in advance if you are having any issues or problems, and help us close out your investment as soon as possible. To ethical dealings with how you deal with your clients, etc. You know, being part of the IBM program also, you know, we also stake our reputation on you and you on us, and therefore we would, you know, we would emphasize that our relationship, the foundation of our relationship, ultimately is based on an ethical foundation. But I think I've been very involved in this cohort selection, and we are very confident that we are now partnering with good ethical companies, and we just have to maintain that posture going forward. And sorry, and that's the last word from me. Thank you, Yahya.
Thank you, Zinat. I hope everybody can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up that you can hear me. Yep, everybody can hear me. Good. All right, so thank you, Zinat, for the introduction. So we're talking about the IBM Techscale program that you're going to be embarking on. And it's a journey with IBM, right? So it's a journey to succeeding in the digital economy. So we would like you as companies all to succeed and to become profitable businesses. And the objective is to make sure that, you know, the investment that we make in you as companies and as individuals will bear fruit in three ways, right? So one is to make you a successful business. Second is also to underpin the National Development Plan, and that is to start creating jobs and creating a vibrant economy in South Africa. We all are aware that we have challenges in the South African economy. Our economy needs enterprises like you to develop and to become a powerhouse in Africa. I mean, if we look at digital skills, we always used to look at India as one of the powerhouses. We will now want to look at South Africa as one of the powerhouses and to build that type of skill in South Africa. Okay, so to lighten up things a little bit, we're going to play a game. And I hope most of you have watched the TV series called Let's Play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But today we're going to change the game plan. We're going to say, no, we don't want to be millionaires. We want to be billionaires, right? So we're going to play this little game today with all of you participating. And the rules of the game are very simple. You answer the questions. You answer 6 questions correctly, and you will then stand the chance to have a lunch with me, Zenith, and Stephanie, okay, at a restaurant in Senton. Okay, so that's the prize. If you win this competition as a beneficiary, I think there's 2 conditions. So YEDI representatives are not allowed to enter the contest, and so as well, IBMers are not allowed to enter the contest. All right, so it's only for the beneficiaries. Okay, so is everybody ready to enter this contest? Can we have thumbs up? And you will put your answers into the Slack channel or the Zoom channel, the chat channel, with your name, the beneficiary name next to it. So there will be 6 answers to the questions, and you will put your names in the chat, and Imbe and the YEDI team will look at the answers and then tell me at the end who's the correct person that got all the answers correct. Is everybody ready to play Let's Be a Billionaire? I'm not seeing any thumbs up. I'm not seeing any.
We're getting some thumbs up in the chat box. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. So, Mbe, we ready to go? Let's play Who Wants to Be a Billionaire? All right. So there we are. These are 6 billionaires. We want you to identify them and tell us who these 6 billionaires are, in order from left to right, top, and then bottom left to right. So you tell me who these billionaires are and put your answers into the chat. We'll give you 3 minutes to answer this competition, and let's see who gets it right. You see me. Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yeah,
Imbe?
perfectly.
All right, good.
We're getting some answers in the chat box. I got an answer from, yeah, so we're getting the answers. Make sure it's in one text. So write number 1, the name, number 2, name, all in one chat, so not in separate chats.
Okay, so we'll give you another minute and a half to answer the questions. Okay, good. Imbe, you'll give me the thumbs up when we've got all the answers in from the 16 beneficiaries.
Definitely.
Okay, so just a clue, there are 2 South Africans in this list.
I think we're good, Yaya.
Are we good? Can we move to the next screen? So let's see who was the successful beneficiary that got all 6 names right. Okay, so the 2 South Africans, Elon Musk and Patrice Motsepe.
Okay, so from the chat box, quite a few got it right, but the first person who got it right and posted on the chat was Mr. Soni from Brownsons, Umzugile.
Okay, so Umzu, congratulations and well done. Okay, so the guys, the reason why I put this up is that you are all entrepreneurs. and you are all, yeah. So you are all entrepreneurs, and you are hoping to be successful businesses and individuals like these billionaires. So that's why we played the billionaire game. Everybody give me a thumbs up if everybody has got all the names and understands who these people are. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our next. Okay, so the question is, you know, what makes a perfect entrepreneur? So there's no such a thing as a perfect entrepreneur. And looking at the Forbes research that they've done on entrepreneurs, basically, and the individuals who start, the ones that have a vision, the ones that are focused. So you'll find that the individuals that I just put up are very focused. If you take, for an example, Elon Musk, if he decides to do something, he focuses on it and puts everything into it. And that's what made him successful. They all start with a plan. They start small, but they know their customers and their potential customers intimately. And they know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And also a quality of perseverance. So all entrepreneurs have perseverance. They build trust in themselves and their brand. I mean, Richard Branson, for an example, build a brand, and you know, the Virgin brand is quite you know, all over the world. I mean, you go to all the gyms, you'll get a Virgin brand gym out in your neighborhood. So these entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs, they walk the talk, right? They are passionate in what they do, and they believe in what they do. And I hope all of you as entrepreneurs are also passionate about your businesses, and 90% of your success is going to be driven by the passion you show on this program and the dedication and commitment you show to this program. All right, so enterprise development in the digital economy. What does that mean for us on this program? So we're going to be starting a process with you in the next couple of weeks, where we will take you through a process in this program, and the steps you will be going through in the program is a few steps that we start off with. We start off with a business and an initial investment in you as a company from an IBM perspective. The YEDI team will also do their program, and you know, the enablement programs will be provided to you, and Jayshree will talk about that a little bit more. But from an IBM perspective, what you can expect is you will start with a business framing and technical framing workshops. It's a week and a half of workshops with you, where we go through and start helping and deciding on the type of investment that we would be furthering with you, and how we would approach this, this engagement with you. And the workshops are facilitated sessions with you and the IBM team. We'll have consulting members in the team. We'll have technology members. We'll have some architects in those teams to work with you and start developing an approach to your investment and what that investment would look like going forward. So every beneficiary will receive business and technical framing. And in that process, we will assess the business and the technical aspects of your business. We will work through a fun exercise where we will look at moving you from a cupcake to a birthday cake to a wedding cake. And that is quite a fun exercise that you can expect to unfold when you are in those workshops. After those workshops, we do an opportunity evaluation, and we understand how your business and your technical capabilities, you know, what needs to be developed. Sometimes it would mean that we develop some software. In other cases, it might, you know, result in a different type of investment. So then we go into a planning for further investment. What would be the further investment look like? You might require training. You might require some enablement. You might require, you know, some architecture or a technology platform, or help in terms of building out your technology platform. So that would be the next step, is planning for the further investment. And then we talk about the elaboration and the architecture of that investment, whether it's going to be a software product, whether it's going to be a platform, or whether it's going to be, you know, just training and maybe some skills development. And then we move into the phase where we build and, you know, the MVP or launch your product or your MVP or whatever the investment has, you know, resulted in, and what we will be doing in terms of our investment into you as a beneficiary. I'm going to just have a short pause here, and we will open up for questions a little bit later, but I just want you to understand that this is the process that you will be going through with IBM. All right. All right, so what are the type of investments that you can expect from IBM, right? So as I mentioned initially, you're going to get business and technical framing. Every beneficiary that has been selected will get workshops in the next 2 months. Business and technical framing will be done with each beneficiary to understand your business and understand the technical platforms and the technical capabilities that you will require, the technology that you will require, and then a decision will be made on further investment, right? So the types of investment, as I mentioned, business and technical framing. We also provide resource capacitation. Resource capacitation in the form of physical human resources. And these resources are sometimes, you know, brought on board by yourself. We can also assist with, you know, defining the resources that you would need in your business. And these are physical human resources that your business can, you know, investment can facilitate, where we pay for the resources that you bring on for a period of time, and that's agreed with you. The third type of investment is training on IBM products, and that is done through a service provider of ours that provides you training on IBM products. For an example, IBM Cloud Pack for data, or any of the IBM security products. Example, QRadar. So you have a catalog of IBM products that you can choose that you want training on, but they would have to be aligned with your business and your strategy going forward. The fourth type of investment is an MVP build, and this is normally where we develop software in collaboration with you, and we decide on, you know, what type of platform we're going to be building for you. It might be software, it might be a mobile app, it might be an application, it might be a cloud application. You will be working with the technology architects, and they will define with you the MVP build. In some cases, you might just want to move your current platform from where it is right now to the IBM cloud. So all that investment is determined when we do the business and technical framing with you. And you also get, if necessary or if applicable, you would get access to IBM cloud credits, where you can then utilize the IBM cloud credits for a period of 6 months or 12 months, and the value is determined around what type of value you would need in terms of IBM cloud credits that would be part of your investment that you would receive from IBM. The last item, which is something that is something that we need to chat about and also talk about in your business and technical framing. As Zinat mentioned, you know, we've put a huge focus on our research lab in Braamfontein. And our data scientists and our team in Braamfontein are working on a number of assets. These are, you know, groundbreaking assets that we do licensing for free to our beneficiaries to use in their businesses, if applicable to your business strategy and your business as a whole. So these are the number of and different types of investments that you can expect after your business and technical framing sessions with the IBM teams. I'm going to have a short pause again here and just let you digest that this is the type of investments you can expect from IBM. Right. Okay, so what do we expect from you as the beneficiaries of this program? And I think some of these items were covered by Zinat already. Apologies for that. So dedication and commitment to the program is essential, right? We need everybody to be dedicated to the program, participating in the workshops. Integrity and honesty is essential. And then also looking at your goals as a business, right? To become part of the IBM ecosystem, to look at contributing to the South African economy is essential in job creation, right? So you as entrepreneurs have an opportunity now with this program to create jobs, and to sustain these jobs going forward in your businesses. And that is part of the IBM development plan for you as a beneficiary, is to make you a successful business in the South African economy and to create jobs in your organizations. And lastly, but not least, following from our theme, is for you to become a billionaire so that you can buy me a Ferrari when you are a successful business. All right, good. Thank you, guys. I think I'm going to now hand over to my colleague. Stephanie will take you through the, hope you can, Stephanie, are you there? Okay. Mbe, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can see Stephanie. She's not muted, and I've made her co-host so that she can present, but I'm just not hearing her, but she's not muted.
I hope she can hear us. Stephanie, just give us a indication whether you can hear us.
Maybe on the chat box, Stephanie. She may have not logged on with the audio.
Yeah, hear me now?
There we go. Yes, we can.
Okay, super. Yeah, I think it might have been a Zoom funny for a moment. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to speak to everyone today. I'm going to shift a bit of focus now into talking about digital skills. I hope by now that you're feeling very excited about the opportunity and about getting this far. And I hope that you're starting to wonder, well, how do I get prepared for the program, and how do I benefit the most that I can out of the program? So one of the best ways to do this, and I would really encourage you to do this right away, is to start preparing from a knowledge perspective. And that's where the digital skills piece comes into play. So you heard Zina talking a bit about the massive digital upskilling drive that IBM has invested into, and 30 million people across the globe by 2030. That includes all of us, of course, and it is really to bridge that gap. IBM takes a holistic approach, both from a customer partner perspective, also as well as a student educator approach. And what we're really saying is the market needs to be prepared. And that's both from a demand perspective, as well as a technology perspective, to marry the skills that are available and the capacity that's coming out of our universities and our higher education institutions. So we need to ensure that there's a balance between the kind of technologies that are being used in industry and in the market, as well as the kind of skills and capacity that's coming out of the education system in South Africa. So when we have a look at digital skills, we're not just talking about computer science and databases. We're talking about much more than that. So we're talking about digital literacy. We're talking about computer literacy in general, even things like understanding social media, understanding how to market oneself, communicate effectively in a digital economy, whether that be by email, by video conference, using web-based kind of technology, and also in terms of the actual systems and solutions that you might put out onto market. And that's where we start seeing the interplay where you're crossing out of the higher education space into specialized skills. So this is where things like data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and these kinds of areas come into play. Now, I'll just go into a little bit more depth around that that massive digital upskilling drive. So what I'll do while I'm busy talking is I'll just drop a couple of links into the chat, which you can go and have a look at. So this one here is the commitment. You can read a bit more about IBM's commitment over there. The next one I want to give to you is the skills build. So you heard Zenit spoke about the Digital Nation Africa initiative, as well as PTech, Open PTech. Now these are initiatives. Digital Nation Africa was actually started in 2017, and you'll see the 30 million upskilling drive was launched in 2021, and Open PTech was also launched in 2021. Now, the big umbrella initiative to read up on all of these is IBM Skills Build. And that's the link that I've dropped into the chat. Now, you have various aspects of Skills Build. So Skills Build has an offering for educators, an offering for students, also for organizations, as well as for professionals. So I won't talk about all of the other different factors or different models. We have, for example, the Global Universities Program, and Angie Razeroka is the leader of that particular program. But I'll talk particularly around the professionals piece. So what we're doing in some of the areas around the professionals is we're looking at individuals who are wanting to upskill or reskill in certain areas. Now, why is this relevant for you? This is relevant for you as an entrepreneur because you're going to find in some cases that digital skills are scarce in industry and in the market. So I'll drop a link to some of the topics around Industry 4.0 into the chat. And this can start to stimulate your understanding and definitely from a solutions perspective, start to give you different ideas about where you should be looking and opportunities where you can start to grow. So things like the smart factory, how artificial intelligence and machine learning plugs into Industry 4.0, and edge computing, and in particular markets and particular industries, what do these things mean? The digital twin, for instance, and using IoT sensors. Have a look at the Industry 4.0 and then delve into the next level of detail and look into Skills Build. So Skills Build is not only for yourself as an entrepreneur. Actually, I want to talk about that in particular. Coming into this program, I would urge you to spend time in Skills Build to develop your own personal skills as well as your employees and your team. And this will position you very strongly to sit in the workshops. And when you're engaging with the consulting team at IBM, you can better engage and better understand how to strategically go to market with your offering, how to properly understand how to platform and host your solution. If you understand the underlying skills, like what hybrid cloud is, how does artificial intelligence work? To that end, I'll drop just a few more links into the chat. There's the IBM developer resource, and Yahya is also going to talk a bit about that one. So I'll just drop that in, and then just to close out, I have a tutorial, which is an example that you'll find from the developer community. And it's a very simple example to get you started using IBM Cloud. And this is critical for you because when it comes to using your cloud credits effectively through the agreement, start looking at these tutorials and skilling yourself and your teams up, because then you can really get the most benefit out of the program. I'll hand it back to you, Yahya.
Thank you, Stephanie. So as Stephanie mentioned, right, so within the IBM ecosystem, we have a number of other initiatives and programs that are also, available to you. And in our letter to you, and we sent out the letter on you being successfully onboarded onto the IBM Techscale program, we also included a link to the IBM partner organization and a link to become a partner of IBM. So we would encourage you to explore the IBM partner world and register on Partner World. There's a lot of enablement for you as beneficiaries and as partners of IBM to leverage and to access that ecosystem of enablement that's available to you. We also have some of the IBM developer portals for those that are inclined towards developing their own software. And I know some of the beneficiaries on the selected list have got developers in their teams. So there's also developer portals and access to development communities that you can access. And if you have any specific requirements that you think you need to discuss with us, please feel free to come to me or Stephanie and raise your questions in terms of how to get assistance. We can reach out to a vast variety of IBM colleagues to get you the help that you need around these programs that IBM has. All right, so I think with that, basically I'm going to conclude and hand over back to Jayashri and Embed to take the rest of the program forward. And we hope all of you as beneficiaries will be successful businesses and you have a successful journey with IBM in your program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yahya. Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you, Zinat. What a great presentation from all three colleagues, executives from IBM. I just want to check before I carry on if our alumni members are on the call. If you could just please raise your hand. I did see
Yes.
Harmony.
Yes, Imbe, Harmony and Paseka are on the call.
Okay.
So you can introduce them and get them to present.
Okay. So again, just a bit of context to the rest of the audience. Harmony and Paseka are alumni of the program and will give some great insight of how they experienced the program, how they leveraged the program, what they managed to get out of it, and really what you can look forward to. And I like that they also give us a bit of perspective on where they are now as a result of having worked so closely with us. So Harmony, I don't know if you can go first. If you can just unmute yourself, Harmony. Harmony Motibe, go for it.
All right, can you all hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, am I also visible?
Yes, perfect.
All right. Good afternoon, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. By way of introduction, my name is Harmony Motibe. I was also part of cohort 1, the first program actually. So I'll just start by introducing the company and also just share my experience in the journey, some of the lessons I learned, some of the benefits take away from the course, from the program as well. And I'll also share a little bit about, just as part of at the end, I'll just allow some of the entrepreneurs to ask me if they have any burning questions. I would allow them to ask those questions. So Jayashri, I think you said I have about 15 to 20 minutes, but I'd actually love to speak for about 10 minutes and then allow the entrepreneurs to actually ask me any question that they may have. So, so as an introduction, my name is Harmony Motibe, and I'm the founder and the CEO of Hort. So essentially, over the past 5 years, we've helped organizations both locally and internationally to integrate our products into their business processes to help them become more productive, efficient, as well as providing exceptional experience to their customers. So essentially what we did was we were able to help our clients to save critical time and resources. And we've also leveraged on some of the, like IBM, some of the IBM resources, infrastructures, as well as actually leveraging on the program itself. So I think Yahya and Zinat mentioned the fact that entrepreneurship is a journey. So it is indeed a journey and not a destination. So for me, I think entrepreneurship sometimes can be a very lonely journey. And then if you don't have support structures and systems and people around you, it can be very frustrating, especially when you, it's like it's a world on its own, and it's a separate world on its own where you actually everything is just looking at you, just staring at you. And then if you don't have a great support structure, it can be very hard. So we all may be aware that for the past 2 years have been hard. But I think before then, for me, I joined the program actually before the past 2 years, before COVID actually hit. So in 2019, I joined the program, and then I went, from day one until the last day of the program. And then personally, I still feel that I'm still part of the program, even though like I've graduated from the program, because I still have I'm connected to everybody that was in the program, and then I've formed a long life or lifetime relationships. So had it not been for this program, I don't think the company would have actually kicked off. I think till this day would still be operating as a, as a hustling company, as opposed to being in a well-established organization with proper structures and systems in place. So I actually like leveraged on that, and then also, had it not been for this program, I think I don't think we would have survived the pandemic. It was so, there were so many lessons that I learned in the program that some of them were not even relevant at that time when I went through the program. But I think it was just up until I was faced with certain challenges, certain dynamics in the business that I got to apply some of those lessons. So, a few things first. There's an African proverb that says, if you wanna go far, if you wanna go fast, go alone. But if you really wanna go far, go together. So as entrepreneurs, we always need support structures and need people and associates, people that can actually help us go further. So some of the lessons that I actually learned in the program were related to, just understanding like how business work, not from a, we are startups, we are small businesses, but we must always have the mindset of, corporate, the mindset of organizations, because our clients are some of these organizations. So for me, I was fortunate enough that when I started on the program, that's when we actually landed our first big clients. And then to have IBM and also to have the structures and systems and processes in place was quite helpful. But I think for me, what's more important was actually like the ability to function, to the ability that the program is. It was basically I want to say that what the lessons that I learned on the program have actually helped me to work on the business as opposed to actually working in the business. Because as entrepreneurs, we get so consumed in like what needs to be done now, as opposed to actually looking at the business from the aerial perspective, from an aerial perspective, and actually deciding like how can we actually grow the business from just being a startup to a well-established businesses. Some of the things that I personally learned were like understanding like how business work. I think it's important to understand that as businesses, we have processes and systems in place. And then those are the things that actually I learned in the course. And then understanding like how processes work within the organization and outside of the organization, especially when you're faced with a big client in your disposal, and then now you need to execute and deliver. Not just as a startup, but as a business that is capable and that is capable and able to deliver on any solution. So some of the benefits that I got from the program were essentially, I think for me, were like access to market. I think understanding and then having the confidence of knowing that I got IBM I got IBM as a backing when reaching out to clients. It was quite helpful in the process. I remember like one of our clients is a bank. So I remember in the process there was a time when the bank asked us, or rather like the people that were in charge of the project, they said to us, like, we see you guys are a startup, like how do we ensure that we are safe? Like, how can you guarantee us that you guys will deliver on this project? And I remember making a call to some of the IBM staff resources or staff members, and some of them were part of the program, to say, I need their backing. So I remember they reached out to a meeting as well. It was a visual meeting. They reached out to a meeting, and then I said, I gave a promise to say, I gave an assurance to the client to say, if anything happens, if it happens that we don't deliver, IBM will be on our side. So I'm confident that we will be able to deliver on the promise. We'll be able to deliver on the solution. And then indeed, we were able to deliver. So those are some of the things that, some of the benefits that one gets by being on the program, or just by being part of the whole program. So apart from those, but I think for me, what really helped the business was actually access to capital. It really changed a whole lot of things in the business, as well as a lot of dynamics in the business, where IBM actually like came into place, where they saw potential in our business, and then they also invested in the business as well in terms of capital. I remember, like, back in the days, in 2019, people would say, like, we don't hear a lot about IBM. It's always about all the other three companies that I won't mention now, but people would say, like, we hear about all these other companies, we don't hear about IBM. And then I remember one of the things that I said to them was, IBM doesn't go out to say, like, and point out and say, like, this is what we're going to do, these are the things that we're going to do, but they actually do things. Like, when it comes to action, like, I've seen personally, like, in my business, I've seen it with other businesses as well. So it's one thing that differentiates IBM from any other, like, all the other companies out there that are running the similar programs, or other, incubate, other startup programs. So I think one other thing that I think I took advantage of, or rather, like, one of the guys that were in the program we took advantage of, was collaboration. Like, not necessarily like on the work, but knowing very well that there are people that have the same mindset, they share the same vision, they share the same they have the same goal of making the world better, of making the country better. And for me, that was critical, because I found a family in the program. I found people that were there in the program that I could share some of the challenges that I was going through. I remember, like, one of the things that that I used to cherish a lot was, I learned to understand that if you are in an ecosystem with people that share the same vision, share the same problems, share the same solutions, it's more comforting, and it actually helps in the long run as well. So there were among the, in that same network, there were other people as well, obviously the facilitators. And this is one of the things that I appreciated about Jeshri in the program, was the fact that she was able to bring a subject expert in our sessions as well. So I remember, like, I had a few other questions related to my business at that time. And then when I asked Jeshri, even though she was the leader, or rather the person that was in charge of the program, she said to me, you know what, Harmony, I don't have the answers, but let me find someone within the network that could assist you. So she was able to bring an expert, someone that was really helpful. And then I sat down with them, and then they were able to help me and assist me with the challenge that I had at that time. So just to mention a few, like, facilitators as well, like, those are the people that were really helpful in the program as well. We took advantage of the fact that we could have access to them. And then not only that, but also the IBM resources as well. I was always at the IBM offices. They knew me, the secretaries knew me then, and most of the guys knew me in the building, because I was forever there. Like, I would get all the help that I needed, like in the program as well. I mean, in and outside of the program as well. So what everybody is talking about now, what Yaya mentioned as well, what Zinette also mentioned as well around the resources that are readily available. What Stephanis also mentioned about the resources that are there, you know, like in terms of IBM infrastructure, in terms of IBM technical resources. It's true indeed. And then we managed to, I personally took advantage of that. I took advantage of, you know, like of the resources and the technical resources and the infrastructure as well to deliver on our mandate to our clients. So I think there's a lot of things that I can speak about, but I think for me it's essentially like it's something that being on the program was kind of a blessing because being on the program, I found myself building lifetime, you know, like relationship till this day. Even this past weekend, one of my colleagues that I used to attend the program with reached out to me, like seeking help on something else, and I was able to help her. So to say the least, but it's always, I mean, being on the program has been so critical, and I think there are so many things that I can mention. There's so many things that I can touch on, but I think I've touched on a number of them. But in conclusion, I just want to share a little bit of this one of the things that happened in when I was in the program. Because whenever I think about the program, the IBM Techscale program, there's one thing that always comes to my mind. That when I was in the program, I actually experienced, you know, a tragedy. Like, you know, I was involved in, you know, like we're living in a society where there are challenges as well. Sometimes, like challenges outside of the business can also affect the business. So I remember one of the things that happened to me was I got hijacked when I was in the program. I got hijacked, and then I was held hostage for about for a night, for over 8 hours actually, and then all my bank account got emptied. So the guys that you know, the perpetrators, they emptied my bank account. They also forced to log into the business account. They emptied the business account. They took my phone. They took everything that I literally had. So that was a week before a week before a payday. So you might be asking, why am I sharing about this? That event alone affected me so much that had it not been for the program, I don't think today I would still be, my business would still be existing. The support that I got from the people around me, from my colleagues, the support that I got from Jayashree herself, I think it was just so much that it gave me confidence, it gave me strength. And I remember, like, some of the guys in the program would say, like, oh, here's the laptop, oh, here's the laptop, so that at least you can just check the emails and perform certain things. But it was, for me, when I look at that the support that I got from the program was so exceptional that it helped me to stand on my own, and to also leverage on the people that were around me to help me go through the stuff. So apart from the technical resources and everything else, but I think it's a very, very good environment to be in, a very good platform to be in. And I just want to take this time and also wish all the the new candidates or the new cohort all the best. And then I know with their commitment, in my language we say "Homu utuswa itusang." I don't have a direct translation for that, but essentially what that means is, if you don't if you don't help, if you don't reach out to people for help, if you don't reach out to IBM for resources, like if you don't reach out, if you don't commit, essentially, like, no one is gonna, like, you won't be able to get help. But I think, yeah, essentially, like, I just want to take this moment to thank IBM. I think I was never in a very same environment where I would be able to appreciate everybody, and then to thank even Jayashree as well. Like, I've written LinkedIn posts and whatnot, but for me, it's still, whenever, like, I'm actually when I think about the impact that the cohort one had in my life and in my business as well. Today, we service clients both is locally and internationally. We have clients outside of South Africa as well. And then the team, like before IBM, as I mentioned in the beginning, that I think it was just me trying to build a company without proper structures, without all those things. But today, we're a business that is able to, that has business, that has processes and systems in place, and then we're able to deliver on our mandate. We service the banks, we service the financial services as well, and then we also service some of the clients also locally. So I'm just gonna stop here and then ask if there's any question, but I think for me that's all from my side. Thank you, and thank you again.
What an amazing testimonial there, Harmony. Thank you so much for your honesty, and just revealing how end-to-end the level of investment that the program gave you all the way back in 2019. And I think this just gives an indication of how the promises or the expectations that some of you may have for this program are legitimate. This is something that the program has done before, as you can hear, as far back as 2019. So these aren't things, Yaya's team are just saying. These are things that have been done before, and it's quite encouraging to hear this. If you have any questions, I'm seeing your comments in the chat box. Please do either raise your hand or put it in the chat box. I'm not seeing Paseka in the call. I don't know if you're still with us, Paseka.
I am there. Unfortunately, Paseka has some connectivity issues, like me. So he's not going to be able to join us. He said he will try and come online, but I think at this point, I'd like us to take some questions for Harmony and for Yaya and Stephanie from the beneficiaries. And if you can facilitate that, so we can get all of the questions in now before our colleagues leave us, and even comments from any of the beneficiaries.
Okay, please do feel free, either raise your hand or type it in the chat box. On my end, just to make a comment on the presentations earlier from the executives of IBM, just really to highlight how it's great to hear presentations like this from a sponsor, a client. At YIDI, we work with a number of sponsors for enterprise and supplier development and empowerment programs. And to have this much proximity, this closeness to the entrepreneurs, and this much commitment to developing businesses is actually not normal. In a good way, it's not normal in a good way. In the sense that the sponsor is usually very distant, particularly if it's a multinational, and particularly if it's an OEM. They're usually very distant to the development of small businesses in local territories. They usually just give the burden of developing businesses to an implementing entity such as us, and they say, just do what you need to do, and we need to get our reporting at the end of the program. So as you can see, as business owners, the executives are here themselves. They have shown you commitments, they've shown you tools, multiple tools that you can access beyond just this program for your benefit. And just to hear Zinat earlier on mentioning the fact that there's definitely a desire for them to potentially even work with you as a supplier, some of you, is great. Usually sponsors try to sort of shy away from that. They kind of want the program to happen and then they're happy. Just to hear that kind of commitment up front is extraordinary, and it's encouraging. Also to see the team. I think the second slide had the full team of IBM executives, etc., and describing what each of them do, so that as you are in this program, you can remember that yes, in that presentation there was a person who was described as being in charge of this or that, and you can actually ask for them by name. Usually in these types of programs, you don't have that kind of line of sight. So this is very encouraging from IBM. And then I think, let me just take, there is a question here from Freddy Malati in the chat box. It says, did any of the alumni transition from being self-employed into actually running the business? And how did they manage to do that in a nutshell? I'll read that again. From Freddie, did any of the alumni transition from being self-employed into actually running the business? And how did they manage to do that in a nutshell? How many? That one's for you.
All right, thank you. Great question. So most certainly, I think I'm one of the I'm one of the candidates that actually moved from like just self-employed. Initially, when I started in the business, it was just me, and then in the program, when I started with the program, I started like looking at the business instead of like myself working in the business. I started working on the business itself. So one of the things that I did was to actually to put systems and process in place to see what exactly how does business work. And I looked at like when you engage with a lot of organizations, they look at they don't see you as one person, they see you as a whole organization. So for me, one of the transition was quite was quite automatic, if I might say that. But obviously, like I had a little bit of it also required me as well to allow that shift to happen. At times, as like as a self-employer or someone that is working like in the business, we tend to focus so much on what needs to be done as opposed to what needs to be done in terms of the technicalities, but forget what actually needs to be done from the business perspective, where we look at the business from the strategic perspective to say like what is the direction of the business, how like from the strategic point of view, like what are the things that need to happen so that this business can grow. I remember, like if I'm self-employed, like it's only about me and I and everything that I can do. But the minute we bring people in the business, we start to learn certain things to like the art of delegation. We need to start to understand that the more we have more time in our hands, the better we will be able to make decisions for the business. So it's a bit hard to let go of especially if your background is technical like myself. I was a technical, like I've been a technical, I was a software developer in my career, and then moving from the technical side of the business to more from technical to business was quite like was a burden for me, because I would still get so much involved in the business. But the transition, it was quite like, once we understand the systems, that not everything is done by individuals. Great things are achieved by by multitudes, not an individual. So that I think for me it allowed a transition to actually like move from a hustler to a well-established organization with people with resources and so forth. I'm not sure if I managed to answer your question, Freddie.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
All right.
Thanks, Freddie. Thanks, Harmony, for the answer. Jayshree, maybe if you have some closing comments.
Thanks so much, Mbe. So I just want to check with the beneficiaries. Are there no questions for the IBM team? Can we see a show of hands if there are any questions?
We've got a question from Zugile Nomafu, who says, how will the program be delivered? Will it be delivered through weekly, monthly workshops? Are these workshops virtual, physical? Are they group sessions or individual sessions, etc.? I think that one is for us.
Okay, so I can definitely take that question. And I know that there are two separate streams, if we can treat it that way. So firstly, there will be a formal development stream with the YIDI team. And as per my email sent out a few weeks ago, those sessions will commence in the first week of May. A schedule will be sent to you. The sessions will be held every second week. The date and time will be communicated with you. It will be about 4 hours in duration. And our sessions are normally mentor-led, which means, like Harmony mentioned, they are led by technical experts in the field that they're presenting on. So for example, if you have someone presenting on marketing and branding, that person runs and owns a marketing and branding company. So you will get that level of development in the sessions. It's highly recommended that you attend all of the sessions that have been planned for you. Remember, this is a development program. In addition to this, and in parallel to the work that we'll be doing as YIDI, you will also be receiving support from the IBM team, as Yaya and Stephanie mentioned. And this support is either in the form of resources, development support, it could include investment, access to some of their additional products and services, and training, as well as workshops that might be conducted from time to time to help you develop out your product or service. What's important to remember is that it is your responsibility as a beneficiary to make the most of these opportunities, to engage with the facilitators, to engage with the team at YIDI. So the main points of contact at YIDI for this program will be myself as the lead program manager, and I'll be assisted by Brandon Elijah, who's also on the call today, who some of you have been communicating with to send through your compliance document. So that's the structure of the program. There might be changes made from time to time, and we may also include additional workshops in the form of master classes that we think you can benefit from as beneficiaries. As Harmony said, the work that we do on these programs, it's really passion-led. So we are extremely passionate about helping businesses grow, helping them access networks, helping them access opportunities. In fact, there's an inaugural publication that's coming out in South Africa showcasing innovations in South Africa for the first time. And we have managed to profile 5 of our alumni in this publication, and we have made the introductions to the editor. And 4 of those alumni are actually IBM Techscale alumni that are being profiled in this global publication for the first time. And in the past, we've also created opportunities for businesses to be profiled in magazines like Fast Company, or created media opportunities, radio interview opportunities. So we try and create as many access to market opportunities as well. So the development is a lot more than just classroom face-to-face type training. It's all of the hands-on work that we would do with entrepreneurs. It also includes a gap analysis, which will be conducted within the next few weeks. We have already sent you the link to complete your online gap analysis. We need you to complete that before we can set up your one-on-one gap analysis consultation session with Sunil and possibly there as well. And to answer your other question on where will these sessions be held, some of them will be held online via our Zoom license, but some sessions will be held at the IBM offices, and we will arrange with that in advance with the IBM team. I know that some beneficiaries are not based in Johannesburg, but these sessions will be streamed as well as recorded. So you will still get access to these sessions, but if you are able to make the trip to Johannesburg and participate in these sessions at your own cost, that's also fine. You just need to let us know in advance. So that's the structure of the program. Mbe, I hope I've answered your question, but if you have any additional questions, I'm happy to take that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jayshree. I've got a question from Kennedy. Will the opportunities also be open to opportunities in the continent, if possible, or just local? I'm thinking that's Yaya's question. But also from Mr. Manaka, he says we did not get the link for the gap analysis.
Okay, so the link Yaya, the link to the gap analysis was in the email that was sent out to all beneficiaries, advising them about the next steps and congratulating them on being accepted to the IBM program. So, sorry, who was that from, Mbe?
Mr. Manaka, Noko Manaka.
Okay, Brandon, if you can please make note of that and resend the email through, but that was your congratulatory email advising you that you were accepted on the program, and the gap analysis and next steps were on that email as well, but we will resend it.
Okay, so just to answer the second question that was around opportunities on the continent. So that all depends on the beneficiary. So do you have an opportunity on the continent? If you do, then you'll get support from IBM. But specifically going into the continent and finding opportunities for you, no, IBM does not do that. Right? So you have to drive the opportunity in the continent. We will support you. So I hope that answers your question, Kennedy.
Thanks. Thank you so much for that, Yaya. And Kennedy, hoping you are okay. And Mr. Manaka, I hope you do find that email. Please do reach out to Brandon in the event that maybe you did not receive it. Jayashree, any closing comments?
From my side, I'm really excited to welcome the 4th cohort of IBM Techscale beneficiaries. We really do look forward to working with you. I think it's going to be an amazing journey for all of you, a learning journey. We always learn as much as our beneficiaries learn on these programs and there. And I know you will be handling the first session with these beneficiaries together with Brandon. So I'm looking forward to them engaging a lot closer with you as well. What I would like to stress is please do make use of the WhatsApp group that we have created for all of you. We have included all of the links that Stephanie shared during this session on the WhatsApp group as well. And we will use that group just to reinforce some of the messages, as well as remind you of sessions coming up. And if there are any opportunities that we come across, we'll share them on that WhatsApp group as well. We find it's the quickest way of us sharing information with you, but we will share as much of that via email as well. So from our side, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, just letting you know that Paseka is back with us. He has joined. So I don't know if maybe we could hear from him before closing.
Definitely. Absolutely. So I'll hand back over to you, Mbe, and then we can close off. Just remind Paseka that he's only got 10 minutes now to present, and then we'll close off the session.
Perfect. Paseka, if you can unmute yourself.
Good day, colleagues. Am I audible?
Loud and clear. Go for it, Paseka.
All right. Apologies about that. And thank you once again for giving me this opportunity. Colleagues, my name is Paseka Solang. I run a company called WHC. That stands for Water Hygiene Convenience. We are a water management solutions company. As most of you might be aware, South Africa is facing a water crisis. By 2030, our water consumption might exceed availability of supply. This is the big problem that we are addressing. The solution that got me onto the IBM Techscale is called DigiAqua. DigiAqua is an application that connects plumbers to property owners and households. It is a water management solution, or rather a system that helps property owners to monitor their water consumption better, identify leaks, and also reduce the time it takes to fix these leaks. This also means it helps them to save more money much faster. So we are also creating jobs for thousands of plumbers while addressing 7 of the Sustainable Development Goals. I would like to share this opportunity, or rather I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to Jayashree on behalf of Yedi, Yaya, and Stephanie for extending the IBM support to my business. As a beneficiary of IBM Techscale, I've been granted resource capacitation through exposure to various IBM IT specialists internationally and locally. They've granted me access to IBM 4IR tools that will be embedded in my solution. This includes, but not limited to, IBM Watson IoT and IBM Cloud. As part of the solution development, I received an R&D team consisting of 5 individuals with a market readiness team as well, consisting of 3 individuals. So these colleagues assisted me with the project plan, market research, design thinking, and product market fit in order to approach our MVP build. As you've heard, that we move from cupcake all the way to wedding cake. So our MVP application is still in development, and IBM is keen to leverage us with any other required resources to ensure that we have a decent solution to scale accordingly. One of the other tacit benefits from being part of this program is that IBM Techscale support has value to it. Just the mere fact that you are receiving the commitment from IBM, most of your stakeholders and prospects want to associate with you too. As a matter of fact, some of the prospects want us to increase the scope of work on the basis that IBM can leverage us with the technical expertise to that extent. As much as IBM has been our main benefactor to this solution, I would also believe that you're fond of the Yeti team. Jayshree and team have been my biggest advocates to date. Working with the Yeti team was the best thing that has happened to WHC in the past few months. As a matter of fact, prior to COVID and during COVID, the Yeti team has exposed us to other master classes beyond the Techscale. They've also introduced us to thought leaders, who some of which are now advisories to our board. So Yeti has also assisted us to evolve as a company from manufacturing water-saving technologies to a big data company that is relevant in the 4IR industry. To this extent, we are now part and parcel of the Innovate South Africa publication on the basis of Yeti's recommendation. So I need not mention how fortunate you are to be selected as part of the IBM Techscale. You've heard from Stephanie, from Z, from Yaya on how much support they want to give to you and how they want to make all of us on this platform billionaires. My advice to you would be to focus on your solution and respect the relationship. Before I received the support from IBM, I was told that another entity had misbehaved and tainted the IBM brand in the process. Needless to say, IBM disassociated themselves to this company, to say the least. So you don't want to find yourself in such a situation. So you need to take responsibility for your success, for your success and for your solution. IBM Techscale is just a platform, they leverage you from a technical perspective, but it's your responsibility to make the business success as an entrepreneur. You need to help IBM and the Yeti team help you. By availing whenever they require your attention, do your part as part of the agreement, and I would suggest that you do much more than what is expected of your agreement. You need to make yourself light for them to carry you to greater heights. Take note that you are neither the only Techscale entity that they're supporting, nor are the IBM team members that are dedicated to you, your employees. They are just tools for you to work through and to get to the next level. The team allocated to you will do by all means to prioritize what they can for your solution, but they also have other IBM commitments because essentially they are IBM employees. So there are a set of hierarchies and protocols that need to be observed. Therefore, you need to be patient with them. You need to enjoy the process and they will enjoy working with you. As a matter of fact, some of them might even start prioritizing your solutions more than their own workload from IBM. This is very important because if you do not understand them, there's a saying that goes, People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So as much as this is an external resource, treat them like your own, treat them, put yourself in their shoes as well. However, do not hesitate to escalate any matter that might lead to your business or your personal integrity being compromised by the absence of their participation. So there's a fine line. You need to manage it well. Last but not least, I would also like to advise you to take the opportunity to learn as much as you can. You've all heard about the IBM Digital Nation Africa by now. This will expose you to people, strategies, workshops, digital tools, and other information that you're not aware of within the 4IR space. There are several fascinating courses that can help you to spark other follow-up innovations and additional features to your current solutions. So at best, you will acquire a new skill set to add more value to your own team. Thank you very much for your attention. That brings me to the end of that brief journey that I've experienced the IBM Techscale and the Yeti team. I hope it was worthwhile your time, and it will inspire you to make the most out of this program. I wish you all a pleasant journey and a successful business moving forward. May God bless. Thank you.
Wow, focus on the solution and respect the relationship. Love that, love that. I'm going to keep that in mind. Paseka, thank you so much. If there are any questions, please do put them in the chat box. We do just have a couple of minutes left, colleagues. Just to reiterate, Kennedy, yes, we will be sharing the recording of the session, and the presentations will be shared as well. I don't know if there are any other questions before we can close. So thank you, Paseka, and it's great to see that you're still on the journey with IBM, and I really like that your testimony just really speaks again with just a little more detail about the nature of relationship with the resources that IBM will give you, about how you engage with them, how you can hold them accountable wherever necessary. But I'm just hearing the theme of ethics coming through, as mentioned by Zinat right at the beginning of this presentation too. Do keep that in mind. And do keep what Paseka has mentioned in mind about how you engage with the colleagues, remembering that they do still have their jobs. They do still do what they need to do at work, but they're also dedicated to you. Yeah, I think other than that, it doesn't seem there are any more questions. I think I will then close for today to thank the executives at IBM. Yaya, thank you so much. Stephanie, thank you so much. Zinat as well, thank you. Thank you, Jayshree, for the time. Great to have you, even though connectivity was not so great earlier on. It's great to have you. To all the businesses that are part of Cohort 4, congratulations for making it in. We are excited to be working with you. Use this opportunity the best way possible. To our alumni, your testimonials were awesome. They were awesome, and I love the amount of detail that you gave to how far you've come. And I think with that said, please do remember to check your emails. Just a final statement from Jayshree saying, please check your emails for the email with the subject line IBM Techscale Next Steps. Please ensure that you go through the email thoroughly to ensure that you have a clear understanding of the next steps going forward. Please remember that the gap analysis must be completed before the 25th of April. You can complete the analysis by clicking on the link in the chat box. So if you want to, you can just copy that link and maybe paste it on your notebook so that you can maybe do it later today or now if you have time. Other than that, colleagues,
before you close, Zina just wants to say a few words and then we can close.
Go for it.
So thank you, the Yeti team, for facilitating this kickoff, and to all the participants. And thanks a lot to the comments we received from alumni of the program. What I just wanted to emphasize and maybe do a little bit of a marketing spiel. There's some exciting things happening at IBM Grayston. Since the lockdown, if any of you are familiar with our premises, we have a large space on the ground floor that we are converting to a type of an innovation hub for the benefit of our beneficiaries under the program. So the idea is to make the space available to you. You want to have meetings there, you want to, in terms of our development, investment in you, if we've got sessions with you, we will be using the space as well. So keep an eye on this, and absolutely looking forward to the energy that will be created in the space and for your involvement in the space. Okay, but we will officially launch it, and we will provide you with more information as soon as it comes online and it can be used. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zinat, and thank you from the IBM team. To all the beneficiaries, we look forward to you. You will start receiving mails from myself and Stephanie in the next week or two. So look out for the mails and the invites to the workshops. Those of you that need to complete all your mandatory documents, please get that all up to date with Jayashree, BE certificates and all the necessary documentation. You will be getting a mail from me in the next week around anything that is missing and any additional information that we need from an IBM perspective. But thank you very much, Jayashree, Mbe, and all the beneficiaries. Thank you for your participation in this session today. Looking forward to working with you all.
Thanks, colleagues. Cheers, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye.